pocket right here. So I have my firearm with me, and the cop noticed, and I was probably the only one. I can't really say that, and I shouldn't, because now that I carry, I've found that there's a lot more people carrying than you think. But yeah, it seemed like the police officer might have noticed the Glock sitting in my appendix, and he was just sitting there watching me. And then finally he took off when he saw I was just, it's perfectly legal to carry, so he couldn't say anything, but I saw him watching, and he sat there for a couple minutes watching me unload and everything. So I didn't get to park right next to, I had to park across the way because it was already filled up with parking, so. But yeah, I noticed. He didn't say nothing, or she. I didn't go to look and investigate, is this a man cop, or, you know. They just probably noticed that there was a Glock sitting in my thing. Hey, at least I'm saying it was probably due to that, and not automatically jumping into it. God damn it, they fucking called the police on me again. No, I think they just noticed the firearm. Holy shit, I've never seen this bridge spin like this. It's called Center Bridge, and it's fucking turning sideways. That's cool. I knew it did that, but I've never actually seen it working. It's just, instead of going up and down, it spins to the side. That's pretty fucking neat. I just noticed it was moving, and it kind of fucked me up. Yeah, nice looking boat coming up on the side of me here. Security? Sheriff? Yeah, it's the sheriff. Good old Cuyahoga County Sheriffs. And there's all types of law enforcement on the river. I always thought it was just the Coast Guard. That's a nice boat. Boston Whaler. Now we're kind of out of the flats, so now it's more of the business type fucking earth diggers and movers and shit. Now you're gonna start seeing more of the commercial stuff. That's some loud shit. I'll go to the range and listen to my 9mm go off right in my hand all day long, rather than listen to that thing 3 times. God, that was loud. See, now it's moving again. It's spinning sideways. So watch behind me and you might see it. But yeah, I find that kind of shit intriguing, how they design that and the architecture of it. And instead of, you know, lifting. I wonder why they did that way. I mean, obviously it was, you know, a way for people to be able to cross from one side of the river to the other, but I've never seen them twist like that. Usually it's up and down. See, a lot of people who kayak and do it at a higher level will use paddles like all these other paddlers, and I have one on the front of the deck of this kayak. But I never use it. That's basically just there for looks and stuff. But people don't realize with those, it's so much harder on the shoulders and your body and stuff, and you can actually get really good speed with one of these once you learn the technique. I would love to see more people using paddles like this. And the good thing about kayaking, if you rent down here from the rental, they have tandem kayaks. So if you have like your spouse, or if you're with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever the case may be, you can rent a tandem, and then you don't have to worry about having two separate boats. And you know, if one gets tired, the other can take over. It's kind of nice. A couple tugboats, little tiny ones. How you doing? I feel like a rock star out here with this kayak, because people just, when they see this boat, they're just not used to, most kayakers are used to what you see in Walmart. You know, most people aren't familiar with this type of setup, but it's a nice setup. I'm glad I bought this over getting a river runner. So I was gonna get a creeker, but I was looking at like a Jackson, because Jackson, Dane Jackson is a world-class whitewater kayaker, and his father is world-renowned too. He actually is an instructor now, and their family's real well known for whitewater kayaking and shit like that. And I was gonna get one of the kayaks that his family designs and sells. But I kind of fell away from the love for the river type stuff, and once I started, you know, kayaking on Lake Erie, and I started getting used to it and shit, it was actually love at first paddle. I got a solo rollerblader lady over here. She's kind of chilling and cruising around over by the paddle club, the rowing club. That's where I'm at now. I'm not too far from like Merwin's Wharf and shit like that. Yeah, I've been on the river before when these guys are out here rowing and stuff. It's actually pretty neat watching them. They look like water bugs because they have several people on these long, thin things. They're narrow like mine and long, but there's several people and they have their paddles and they're just moving back and forth. And they look like water bugs. That's the way I think of them when I see them, but they're kind of cool. They can get moving across the water, but I don't imagine how well they turn. I can't imagine the turning of those things is all that great. But who knows? Home of the head of the Cuyahoga Regatta, East 1996. How you doing? Hey. Now I'm coming across some people, but this is where the Merwin's Wharf is. That restaurant I'm always talking about. I've been wanting a burger. I got the money on me right now. That ain't a problem. But it looks like they might be pretty packed, and I'm not into that. These little boats that follow the paddle, or the rowing teams, they're kind of neat. They have these little tiny motors, but they're like little skiffs. They're like, when you think of a pontoon boat, they have the pontoons. Well, that's what these have. They have pontoons, and it's just like a deck, like almost like a not a houseboat, a pontoon boat. But they're just little tiny pontoon boats that follow around paddlers and stuff. It looks like what I'm coming across is a bunch of paddlers in the first place. They're all wearing life jackets. Or maybe it's something else going on. I don't know. It looks like a group. They're all wearing the same color shirts and shit. So it must kind of be a group thing. They're rowers. Looks like maybe canoes with the paddles they have. Actually, the restaurant doesn't look too busy.